You can see that my title is called Omni Cubed, or Omni to the third power. And today we will explore the importance of knowing about Omni Cubed and how this power is significant in our lives. But let's begin first with our statements of truth. Together, please. I am a child of God. I am deserving of good in my life. I am accepting my good now. So as we explore Omni Cubed, we begin by looking at the laws of thought and why we need to make a shift in our thinking and to align and utilize this Omni to the third power. As children of God, we can easily float to this truth as easily as a butterfly flaps its wings. So let's begin with the laws of thought. The laws of thought are fundamental axiomatic rules. An axiom is a premise or starting point of reasoning, upon which rational discourse, this refers to when you talk based on fact and fact alone, itself is often considered to be based. The formulation and clarification of such rules have a long tradition in the history of philosophy and logic. Generally, they are taken as laws that guide and underlie everyone's thinking, thoughts, expressions, and discussions, etc. And every week we say our statement of being, don't we? We say there is only one presence and one power in my life and in the universe, God the good, omnipotent. Well, this statement is a jumping off point for a deeper understanding to the attributes of God and a place where we look at how we name God. So what is Omni Cubed or Omni to the third power? Well, Omni itself means all or limitless, beyond limits. And Omni Cubed is omnipresence, omnipotence, and omniscience. And these are attributes of God. And here's what they are. Omnipresence is the property of being present everywhere. Omnipotence is the quality of having unlimited or great power, all powerful. And omniscience is the quality of or state of being having complete or unlimited infinite knowledge, awareness, or understanding, perceiving all things. The science part of this is knowledge. The potence part of that is the power. And the presence, of course, is the presence of God everywhere. And when we are aware of this omnipresence, we can know that we are never alone. When we feel and know that we have all the energy we need and realize that we are one with God, then we have that omnipotence of God moving in and through us. And we can know that all we need to know is there in the ultimate source of all there is when we connect to that oneness of God, when we connect to that mighty energy, when we connect to the divine mind that we call omniscience. This is all good and fine, but how do we utilize these in our lives? How do we stay on point with that Omni Cubed? How do we go further with this? Well, we can also look at other ways we name God, for example. How do we name God? We use names, well, for starters, we use the word God, don't we? And for some people, that's kind of like throwing some embedded theology out. They don't like the word God. Some people call it universe. People call it source. Some people call it the great creator. Some people say mother, father, God. And we might call it energy or light, just to name a few of the things we name God. And these are all attributes. They're all names that we are using as descriptors on this physical plane. We name things. It's our human nature. We name things, we name people, we name feelings and thoughts and our actions, don't we? And on a spiritual plane, it's a whole different story. We all want to be in that oneness of God. We all want to be expressing that omnipotence, that omniscience, that which one I forgot, I don't even know right now. But anyway, we all want to be expressing that. And yet, in the oneness of all that, how do we accept all the names for God? How do we accept whatever your name is for God, or your name is for God, or your name is for God? Well, we can go back in history and see that there's always been this thing about the name of God. You see, the Hebrew people had a name for God, represented in the Hebrew by the tetragram, grammaton, yes, the four letters. And here they are. Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, transliterated into Roman script, YHWH. or Yahweh, meaning to be or to become, is what they think it came through. It was considered blasphemous back then to name God, to say the name for God. So it was always written in these letters, or Hebrew letters, and never spoken. If you spoke the word for God, you would be killed. And the only place they did it was in the holies of the holiness, in the middle of the temple, and the only one allowed in there was the high priest. Well, this ended up causing the original pronunciation of the name for God to become extinct. People no longer knew how to pronounce it. They didn't know what that actually meant. And they think that it was originally from that Semitic root, which was Hebrew and Arabic together, which is this word here, meaning this, or to be, or to become. And later, of course, they started saying it was Yahweh, correct? Everybody's heard that? And they did that from using that YHWH and putting some vowels in between there. Because you see that early on people had difficulty defining that mighty essence that we name God. And rightfully so. We still struggle and strive to understand more and more about the essence of our being, don't we? Or what we are to be. We each have our own connecting point, and the beauty of that ideal that we have for our own selves, whatever it is that we name God for ourselves, the beauty of that is that that's a place where we can come together and, if you will, kind of merge those ideas together into that essence that we know is mightier than any word we can name it on this physical plane. So we go back to still the same concept of why do we have a problem living from that Omni cubed? Why can't we always be in that essence of being or what we are to become? Why do we struggle with knowing that we have all the knowledge, knowing we have all the power and energy, knowing that we are never alone? Well, Emma Curtis Hopkins, one of the great teachers of Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, shares this in her text, Scientific Mental Practice. Between Om and presence is the little syllable ni. Between Om and potence is the little syllable ni, the abbreviation for two Latin words. Ni stands for nigellum. Nigellum means nothing. Ni also stands for nibble. Nibble means nothing. And so maybe what happens is we get hung up in the allness that we know that God is, and the allness that we know we can be, and the nothingness to all there is. You see, because before God, there was nothing. But yet God was in the midst of that too, right? I mean, before us and the earth, there was nothing. And God was in the midst of that too. But the thing is, in that nothingness on this physical plane, we look at it as negative thinking or negative thoughts or negative actions. The nothingness we think of when we're depressed or when we're in that place of void. We're in the place of not being able to decide what is ours to do, or we're struggling, or maybe we don't think we have enough finances, or we don't have enough knowledge to have that perfect job, or we don't have what we want or need or whatever it is. That can be the nothingness for us on that physical plane. So we get caught up in those laws of thought, don't we? And we're not living in that mode that truly is the essence of us. And we know what happens when we get caught up in those laws of thoughts that are negative thinking, thoughts and actions, don't we? We move to that idea of the law of mind action. Thoughts, let's say it together. Thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. So when we're thinking in that negative world, what are we going to get? What is the result going to be? Negative. But we have to remember that even in that nothingness, even when we are in that place of the void, when we're in that place of depression, and when we're in that place of thinking we don't have enough money, or we're not smart enough, or we don't have what we need on this physical plane, even in that moment, God is with us. That essence of God is within us, trying to cry out through our souls. And that essence is what brings us out of that place. That essence is what gives us that truth, that inner when we go to that place of knowing that that Omni cubed is always here with us. So, when we're in that place and we're struggling and stuff, we can turn to Charles Fillmore in his text, Keep a True Lit, and we can look at how he defined God as principle. Principle is another name we use for God, you know. God as principle is the unchangeable life, love, substance, and intelligence of being. A parallel may be found in the principles of mathematics or music. Principle does not occupy space, nor has it any limitations of time or matter, but eternally exists as the one underlying cause from which come forth all true ideas. Principle does not occupy space, nor has it any limitations of time or matter. Isn't that beautiful? That's the allness of God. And I mean, I think Jez and Linda and Bill can tell us that we see those musical notes. And there's just basic musical notes, but the minute they start putting them together, it makes a new song. It makes a new tune. It can be something else just from those basic things. Mathematics. We can learn to add 2 plus 2, and yet we can go off into the, with that knowledge, we can go off into algebra and trigonometry and whatever else we want to go to. So it's that same concept. The allness is there for us to tap into, and that truth changes our lives. That truth reflects God, and in that truth is what? Only good. That's right, only good. And you see, if we start thinking about living in that Omni cube, and we start living from that Omni cube, we can cause the butterfly effect. And maybe some of you know what the butterfly effect is. In chaos theory, the butterfly effect is when a butterfly flapping its wings 2 weeks prior to a storm can affect the conditions of that same storm. It is also defined as, it is the sensitive dependency on initial conditions in which a small change at one place in a deterministic, non-linear system can result in large differences in a later state. Or, another way of saying this is, a divergence during a seemingly minor event resulted in a significantly different outcome than would have occurred without the divergence. Now, this makes perfect sense why the weather is always a changing thing, right? Because if a butterfly flapping its wings can change how the weather is going to be, think about all the conditions there are with weather besides the butterfly flapping its wings. And that's why weathermen have a hard time, telling us what the weather's going to be. It changes the outcome. But going back to my example of if we could all live from that place of the Omni cube, if we could all be in the oneness of God, expressing and knowing all of those things are possible for us, it would shift the effect of later outcomes, which would only result in good. So who's to say that one person, just one person here today, can cause a positive change for good if only one butterfly can change how a storm reacts? And I believe if we could be in that place together, then I believe we would change wars to peace, poverty to prosperity, hate to love. It would easily happen because we would be affecting the outcome for it to be only good. And we can do this when we remember to keep our hearts with all vigilance, for from it flow the springs of life. Above all else, guard your heart, for it affects everything you do, from Proverbs 4, verse 23. Now, this isn't saying that we guard our hearts from hate. It's saying to live from that omnipotence that we are. We have the power to keep our thoughts in alignment with truth, to keep love in the forefront of our hearts and minds, and live like we are made to live from that almighty source of all there is, and have all we want in our life and claim it all to be good. You see, no matter what's happening on this physical plane, when we turn within to the spirit of all that there is, everything shifts. Everything shifts. Even in the case of the butterfly. Do you know what happens when a butterfly's wings get wet? Do you? Well, we're going to find out. When a butterfly's wings get wet, they can't fly because their wings become too heavy. However, butterflies do not need to stay completely dry. But they have, once the water gets on there, it does get weighty. If they do get wet, what they do is they simply remain still until the water evaporates off their body. They often bask in the sun to dry their wings. You see, we can learn a lot from the butterfly. They stay perched, they hold on strong until the rain stops and their wings can dry. And we too can stay strong and remain calm and allow any turbulence to stop in our lives before we move forward. They even stay still until the rain evaporates off their wings, and we can remain still, can't we? We can stay in prayer and meditation until we allow the negative thoughts to evaporate away. And yes, we can bask in the light of God to allow ourselves time for renewal and to renew our faith that all is good. And in turn, what happens is that we then allow our light to shine just like that sun that dries the butterfly's wings. You see, if a butterfly can hold on, if it can't hold on, it will fall to the ground and it will end up in a puddle. And we've seen butterflies like that, haven't we? We've walked along and the butterfly's upside down in the puddle and we think it's going to be dead or that it's going to die, but it's still kind of moving. And we want to try to rescue that butterfly. However, if we allow it to be where it is and allow the puddle to dissipate away, the butterfly will rise up again. And the butterfly will flap its wings again and be able to fly. And that's the beauty. Even when we're in the puddle of our muck, we too can allow ourselves to rest, allow ourselves to regroup, and then we will be able to fly again. I love this because Martha Smock, who was a Unity minister and author and editor of the Daily Word for 30 years, wrote this about the Spirit of God and how the Spirit of God can guide us in these ways. She wrote, "Something in you knows that you are greater than anything you have yet experienced or expressed." How many people have had that feeling before? Like there's something in them that they know is churning and wanting to be expressed more and more. This inner knowing, this feeling of potential greatness, is the Spirit of God in you trying to break through. It is like sunlight that may be temporarily hidden behind clouds. But the clouds cannot take away the light. Nothing can erase or lessen the bright, glorious, wonderful Spirit that is in you. And this is the beauty of our spiritual life. We learn and we grow and we find the truth. And it's our truth. And perhaps it's lying dormant within each of us right now, wanting to come forth, but it will come forth, and that longing will shine. And once we find it, we want it to shine, don't we? We might have times that we're discouraged or off balance, and that's okay because we know that we are more than any outside distractions. Anything happening on this physical plane, we know that we are more than that. And from the Bible, Ephesians 4, verses 1 through 8, it says, "I therefore, the prisoner of the Lord, beg you to lead a life worthy of the calling to which you have been called, with all humility and gentleness, with patience, bearing one another in love, making every effort to maintain the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. There is one body and one Spirit, just as you were called to the one hope of your calling. One Lord, one faith, one baptism, one God and Father of all, who is above all and through all and in all. But each of us was given grace according to the measure of Christ's gift. Therefore it is said, when he ascended on high, he made captivity itself a captive. He gave gifts to his people." 2 weeks ago, I gave you a quiz, or evaluation, if you will, to discern your spiritual gifts. Janelle and Anna asked me about that last week, and I thought we might follow up just briefly on this. How many of you took the evaluation or quiz, and how many of you brought with you today your top 3 spiritual gifts. Yay. Well, I'm going to have Reverend Warren, and he's going to write your name up there on that. And we're doing this as a way to get to know each other a little bit better and also see where we all land. Because from those spiritual gifts, there's ways that you can serve each other and know each other better, and just to expand your own knowledge and see where you can serve this community and out in the world. Now, how many of you have taken a quiz before or a spiritual gifts thing before? Did it differ this time than last time you took it? A little? And Joyce, you're shaking your head no, it's the same? Okay, and Janelle?
I didn't take it before.
Okay. All right. So we're going to start with, there's the list.
Okay, so can we just have people
I'm going to
say
have to raise
their
their hand.
name when leadership? So I
Okay.
can-
Okay, so you don't have to turn around?
Well,
Okay.
I can-
So, leadership. Raise your hand for right now if you had that as one of your top three. So Anna is on there. And leadership motivates people to work together in unity toward common goals. So I would say that fits Anna perfectly. Administration. Okay, we have, keep your hands. Neva, Joyce. Am I saying it too fast? Tiny, BJ, anybody else? Bill, did I see your hand up? No. You didn't take the quiz, did you? I'm just teasing. Persons with the gift of administration lead the church by steering others to remain on task. Yes, that fits too. Okay, teaching. Who had teaching? Joyce, Anna, Tiny, Sandy with an E, right? I. Okay, I. I knew it was not the Y. All right, if you didn't get the evaluation or quiz, Dr. Barber has some for you to take with you, and you can bring that later and add them to this list if we're going to post this. Knowledge. Who had the gift of knowledge? Dr. Barbara, Joyce, Sandy again.
Is this the top three or just?
Well, okay, if your scores, like Warren ended up with, I think, 5 with all the same top score. So, so whatever your top scores were. I would say 3, but, yeah. So,
Was that Dr. Barbara, Joyce, and Sandy?
yes, I think so, right?
Right.
Who else
Okay.
on knowledge?
That's it. Wisdom. Oh, wait. Knowledge, the gift of knowledge manifests itself in teaching and facilitating. So we're going to see all you teaching classes. Wisdom. Who had wisdom? Dr. Barbara. Wisdom is the gift that discerns the work of spirit in the church. Ooh, that is good. Prophecy or foresight. Who had that? Dr. Barbara and Joyce had that. Prophecy manifests itself in insight, prediction, preaching, and teaching. And I say intuition. Discernment. Who had discernment? Maria? I didn't miss you on any yet, did I?
No.
Okay. I didn't see you out of the corner of my eye until just now. Discernment. Anybody else have discernment besides Maria? Discernment is perception in the absence of judgment. Exhortation or encouragement. Joyce had that. And Maria. Possessors of this gift encourage members to be involved in and enthusiastic about the work of God. I would say so. Okay, shepherding or guiding. Anybody have that? Oh, we need some shepherds and guides here. Faith. Anybody have that? Okay, so we have Janelle, Neva, Anna, Joyce. Who else was over here? Was there somebody with faith? Oh, Dr. Barber.
Are these supposed to be the same numbers? Because I think we have more than this number on here.
Well, okay, here's what mine was. My top, I had 3 that all had the same number. Now Warren had 5 that were, 4 of them were all that top number and 1 that was 1 number below it. So that's why he did 5, which all fit. Okay, nobody else with faith though, right? Okay, evangelism.
Faith.
Oh wait, faith. Who had faith again?
No.
Oh, faith. I didn't say what it was. Sorry. He got your names. Faith trusts God to work beyond the human capabilities of the people. Isn't that beautiful? Evangelism. Speaking and living truth. Anybody got that? No. Okay. That is The gift builds up the church by adding new members to its fellowship. Anybody have apostleship? Ooh, we need. Okay, apostleship. Apostles motivate the church to look beyond its walls in order to carry out truth. Service helps. Who had that? Dr. Barber, Tiny, Neva. Truth students with this gift do not mind working behind the scenes. I think that's true. Okay, who had mercy? Janelle. Cheerful acts of compassion characterize those with the gift of mercy. And Janelle's always smiling, so I can see that thing real well. Okay, giving. Okay, we got Maria, Janelle, Dr. Barbara, BJ. Shirley, did you take the quiz? No? Okay. Those that didn't finish it need to go home and do their homework. And then we're going to write it on. I'm going to post this on the wall, so we're going to, whoever hasn't taken it needs to finish it and then come add your names to that or didn't finish it. Okay, hospitality. Oh, giving. I didn't say what it was. Members with the gift of giving give freely and joyfully to the work, mission, and vision of the church. Did I get everybody on giving? Yes. Hospitality. Okay, we have Dr. Barbara, Sandy, BJ. Is that right? Pat, you didn't take the quiz? Yes. Okay. The hospitality. Those with this gift have the ability to make visitors, guests, and strangers feel at ease. Okay, Reverend Warren.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell everybody what yours were.
Well, why don't you tell me?
I'm going to tell them what mine were too. You can say mine too as you go through it.
Okay, leadership, I have leadership.
I had administration.
You have
I wrote it too small for you. I have teaching. You have wisdom. We both had prophecy or foresight. Warren had evangelism, speaking and living truth. And Warren had giving. And Grace had service and help, mercy, giving. Oh, I had giving also. And hospitality. So that was cool. All right. Now the reason why we study these gifts and we want to know about our spiritual gifts is to better understand why we are and how we can better express ourselves as children of God. How we can take all those names that we have been talking about and actually express them in our lives, because that is what we are here to do. We are here to express that omniscience, that omnipotence, and that whatever the other one is. Why am I doing this? Omnipresence. Yes, the omnipresence. I didn't take cold medicine this morning, so I should be okay. But anyway, expressing those in our lives. And when we better understand what our powerful gifts are, we can better utilize and express those. And once we do that, then we can freely flap our wings just like the butterfly. And I gave you each a card today to help us remember that omniscience that you are, that omnipresence that you are, that omnipotence that you are. And when we do that, we can meet every living thing and express as God wants us to express. So when we truly honor ourselves and each other, we strive to express the highest and best that we can be. And then it is from that beingness, that place, when we say to be or to be in that place of beingness, it is in that perfect balance of finding that in our lives without judgment, without criticism, without any negative thinking, living from that truth that we know. And when we can do this, we can look at Romans 11:36. For from God and through God and to God are all things. To God be the glory forever. Amen. Thank you for being here today, God.
Yeah. Linda Jackson.